Welcome back to the Nuckhead podcast. This is the final episode of the off-season, so next time we speak, we'll be talking about real regular season Canucks hockey, and I couldn't be more excited. So I figured in this episode, I want to talk about the lineup. Who is going to make the team? Where is everybody going to play? So yeah, let's just get into it. All summer, I've been trying to figure out what Adam Foote and the rest of the coaching staff is going to do with this lineup, specifically the forward group, because the D pairings are a lot more cut and dry. I can kind of guess how they're going to look. But yeah, the forward lines are a big question mark, especially now that Braden Coots is playing so well. He might make the team and make this even more confusing. So yeah, I've been thinking about this for months, as I'm sure many of you guys have been too. And I think I've finally settled on my preference for what the lineup should look like on opening night. I'm not going to call it a prediction just because there still is a big question mark on the forward group, but at least from what I've seen in the preseason, I think this is going to be my preference. So I'll start with the D pairings because, like I said, they're the most straightforward. Quinn Hughes and Filip Hronek, that's your top pair. I know some people want to see Hronek on his own line, but I don't know. They're so good together. If it's not broke, why fix it? Yeah, I'm leaving it at that. The second pairing, again, very obvious. I think we're all guessing this. Marcus Pettersson and Tyler Myers, the two giants, mainly Myers. I think Myers is still a top four defenseman. Obviously, he's getting older and his age will catch up to him at some point. But man, he has had a rags to riches story since he joined the Canucks. I mean, he was one of the most hated players for many years during that dark era that we call the Benning era. And you know, he wasn't living up to his contract. He was getting paid a lot more than he was worth back then. But when Rick Tocchet took over and Adam Foote started coaching the defense, he has just looked so good. I have no problem with the Chaos Giraffe, which I don't even think should be his nickname anymore because he's not nearly as chaotic as he once was. He's more like the chaotic good giraffe. I don't know. But yeah, Marcus Pettersson and Tyler Myers, I love that second pairing. The only problem looking into the future is it does have an expiration date that's kind of coming up with Myers. Not super soon, but we're getting into that space where it could happen at any time, kind of. But for now, I love it. Tyler Myers, Marcus Pettersson, second pairing. Third pairing, this is the only slight question mark when it comes to the defense because you have so many different options. On the left side, you have Derek Forbort, obviously. Elias DPD Pettersson, who plays both the left and right side. And then the new guy they just signed in the offseason, P.O. Joseph. But then on the right side, you have Tom Willander and you have Victor Mancini. So you have five guys. And, you know, it's worth mentioning Kirill Kudryavtsev probably has a bright NHL future ahead of him as well. He's just not quite there yet. But yeah, these five guys are all fighting for these last two spots. I think the left side is Forbort's to lose right now just because he's a veteran. He has so much experience, and I think Adam Foote and the rest of the coaching staff really like him. So I think he's going to get that left side, at least on opening night to start the season. But for the right side, the easy answer for a while was DPD. He's one of my favorite players on the team now, and I don't think I'm the only one. He's so exciting to watch. But Victor Mancini has really, really shined in the preseason. He's looked so good. He's making quite the case that it should be him on that third pairing come opening night. So who knows what that third pairing is going to be. For me, I would start the season with Forbort and DPD. I just think DPD is such an impactful player that you want him, especially on opening night at home. He's the type of guy to lay a big hit and get the crowd going. Victor Mancini, I don't know if they'll start him in the AHL or not because they don't want him sitting unless they plan on really managing the minutes of Forbort and Pettersson. Then maybe they'll keep Mancini up and just kind of cycle through the three of them and possibly even bring up Joseph as well. But yeah, my preference, at least on opening night, is Forbort and DPD. So the defense is Hughes Hronek, first pairing, MP3 Pettersson and Tyler Myers, second pairing, and Derek Forbort and DPD, third pairing, with Victor Mancini and maybe P.O. Joseph being the extras, depending on what their plan is with deploying them. Now, I should mention that Derek Forbort is on a one-year deal. He just re-signed, but it's only 1 year. And I think the reason they did that is they want a clear answer on whether or not DPD is really ready to take that left side defense on the third pairing. Because if he proves, honestly, like in the first couple months of the season, if he proves, hey, I can play that spot, they might move off of Derek Forbort. They might. I don't know if that means trading him or just sitting him, but they might do that and call up Mancini. That third pairing, whether it be a month into the season or at the trade deadline or past that, that third pairing could very well end up being DPD and Mancini. And that's what I'm hoping for, to be honest. Nothing against Derek Forbort. It's just those guys are the future, obviously. Okay, now the forwards. First line is the easiest one. I'm going DeBrusk, Pettersson, and Besser. Pettersson and Besser have had chemistry in years past, but they also showed that it was still there at the end of last season. They finished the year on a strong note. I mean, until Pettersson got injured. But yeah, I thought they looked good together. And, you know, you're not going to put Besser on the second line. He's your best scoring winger. You're also not going to put Pettersson on the second line. He's your franchise forward. So Pettersson and Besser on that first line is a lock to me. I don't see it moving. I know some people want to see Besser play with Hedl or let Hronek play with Pettersson. I mean, I'd love to see that, but we're talking opening night, first few games. It's going to be better in Besser. What? It's going to be Besserson and Pettersson and Besser. Anyway, playing alongside them on the left wing, I think it's going to be Jake DeBrusk. Him and Petey have good chemistry together. They've looked great in the preseason so far as well. DeBrusk is a smart player. He really knows where to be to score goals. You know, you look at his highlight package, and so many of the goals he's scored are just right in front of the net, bashing in rebounds or deflections. He knows how to get into those spots. And when you think about that line and how it's constructed, you've got Besser who can kind of score from anywhere on the ice. His shot is so lethal and he's really good at getting open. He's not the best skater, obviously, but he has good hockey IQ. And that's why it works playing with Pettersson, because Pettersson, even during his slump, he's thinking 2-3 steps ahead of his opponent almost always. So Pettersson being able to set Besser up and Besser finding that open space, getting a shot off, and then there's DeBrusk right in front of the net, whose specialty is finding that little pocket of space right in front of the net to bash in a rebound or deflect a puck in, or even just let it hit him and bounce in. I just think that line makes the most sense for so many reasons. So that it's not a very exciting preference, but the second line is a little bit more interesting. I'm going Evander Kane, Filip Hedl, and Connor Garland. Now, I forgot to mention, I already posted this preferred lineup of mine online. I posted it on Twitter and also in the community tab on the Nuckhead YouTube channel. So I already got a lot of your responses, and I'm going to respond to them in real time in this episode. The reason I'm saying that now is because I know some of you didn't love where I put Connor Garland, which I kind of found surprising considering how great of a season he had last year, and the chemistry he had with Hedl at some points last season I thought was undeniable. So I was kind of surprised to see that, but we'll get to that later. For now, let me justify why I have these guys together. So first of all, Evander Kane, I put him here because he can score. Obviously, he's got a great shot and good hockey IQ. But I also put him here to protect Hedl. Now, I know some people like the idea of putting him next to Pettersson, but I don't think he needs it as badly as Hedl does. Hedl, until we have reason to believe otherwise, is a fairly fragile player right now. He's very injury prone. I wish they could wrap him in bubble wrap for the first 40 games of the season, but they can't do that. I'm pretty sure that would be against some sort of rule. But, you know, the second best thing is putting Kane next to him, I think, because Kane, he is an absolute pest. I mentioned this in the video I posted yesterday, which, by the way, if you missed it, go watch it. He has this way of getting under the skin of his opponents that is just so effective. And to make it worse, to pour salt in the wound, he'll go out and score a goal or 2 or 3 sometimes, which is just that combination of, you know, imagine being a player playing against him. I mean, as fans, we've watched this guy play against our favorite team for years. I remember when Kane entered the league as a Thrasher, later with the Jets, then the Sabres, the Sharks, and obviously for the past 4 seasons, he's been a member of the Oilers. He's one of the players I hated, truly, which is one of the reasons, seeing him put on a Canucks jersey was such a strange feeling. But yeah, I mean, he's one of the best pests in league history, in my opinion. Because a good pest doesn't just piss you off, they also score. Kind of like Alex Burrows. In my opinion, Burrows, I mean, I'm super biased here, but I think Burrows was the best of all time. I mean, he's got to be up there. Burrows was incredible at getting under people's skin and then scoring a goal. But yeah, so we have Kane now. He's on our team, and I'm putting him on the second line with Hedl and Garland because I think that, and also Garland. I mean, Garland doesn't need protection, but he's on the smaller side. If anyone tries to mess with him, you know Kane's going to stick up for him too. So yeah, that's why I'm putting him there. He's going to score goals, I'm sure of it. I guess the question is just, when is age going to catch up to him? Is it going to be this year? Hopefully not. Then at the center position on the second line, I put Filip Hedl. Now, this spot is the biggest question mark on this entire team. Second line center. Who is going to play second line center? Apparently, allegedly, Canucks management was trying to fill this hole all summer. They looked at Mason McTavish, Marco Rossi was one I heard, and even Jack Roslovic was an option in free agency, but nothing came to fruition, leaving us with Filip as our second line center. Now, I don't think that's as bad as some people do. Yes, he has injury problems. Yes, he's never played in that role before, but I think he has the skill set to flourish, honestly. I don't see why he can't, assuming he can stay healthy. I think the biggest reason people don't like it is because this is a year we're trying to impress Quinn Hughes, right? We want him to re-sign in the offseason. He does have one more year under contract after that, but they want to get it done as soon as possible. So having a good year, going deep in the playoffs is what this team wants, and you don't really want a question mark on a position as important as second-line center. I'm optimistic. It's just naturally how I am. You guys know this. I think Chytil's going to surprise a lot of people this year. So I'm not too worried about it. However, I will say, if a player becomes available that could fill that spot with no question marks that the Canucks could trade for, I would say do it, provided we don't have to give up too much to make it happen. But yeah, opening night roster, Filip Chytil on the second line doesn't bother me. And then on the right side, I have Connor Garland. I know some people think he's better utilized playing on the third line, and I'm not against that. I just don't know who you'd put above him. Linus Karlsson? Kiefer Sherwood? Would you trust Jonathan Lekkerimäki to take that role on opening night? Again, this isn't what I think the lines will look like at the end of the season. That's a whole different conversation. But for opening night, and again, it's not really a prediction, it's my preference, I think you got to go Connor Garland on the second line, right? Chytil between a guy that works as hard as Garland and a guy as gritty and tough as Evander Kane, both of whom are very offensively talented. I don't know, it just makes sense to me. Now, the third line is where it gets a little controversial and a little exciting, depending on who you ask. So for the third line, I have Kiefer Sherwood playing on the left side, 18-year-old Braden Coots in the middle, and then on the right, Jonathan Lekkerimäki. There's an asterisk on Coots, though, because I don't think playing him more than the 9 games that he's allowed to play before his ELC kicks in is necessary. I think you start the season with Coots in that 3C slot, maybe play him every other game for a little bit, rotating with Ratu. But once he hits 9 games, I think you send him down back to the WHL. But for opening night, I say you put him there. He's earned that spot. I really do. I don't know if they will. They're definitely considering it from everything I'm hearing, but I would love to see it. As a fan, it's hard not to want that. And if you're wondering what the risk is here, it's all about his development, right? Playing 9 games in the NHL as an 18-year-old could be a huge positive for a player's development. But it also could end up being a big negative. We don't want Coots going out there game 1, game 2, and getting absolutely schooled by the veterans he'll be playing. Pushed around, beaten in puck battles, crushed with a hit or something. We essentially don't want him to lose confidence, right? Now, the thing with Coots is every team he's ever played for, all the scouts, they all say that one of his strongest attributes is his maturity and his compete level. So if any 18-year-old could handle getting pushed around in the NHL for a couple games, it does sound like he's the type to be able to handle that and maybe even use it as fuel to get even better coming into camp next season. But it's a risk, right? He's looked so good in the preseason. He's been one of the better players, honestly. And it's hard because as a fan, I want it to happen, but I also know that it wouldn't hurt. It truly would not hurt him if he just went back to the WHL right away. It's just this whole thing with trying to impress Quinn Hughes. Braden Coots looks like our third best center right now. So the instinct is just to put him in that spot, right? To make the team better. But you also have to look at the future. It's a tough one to figure out. But I put him there. That's my preference. That's my, not prediction, but preference. I'd put Coots in that third line spot for the first, 15 games of the season. Let him play 9 of them. Have Ratu cycle in and out. That's what I would do. And I'd put him between Kiefer Sherwood and Jonathan Lekkerimäki. So starting with Kiefer Sherwood, I don't think giving him fourth line minutes would be right. I just don't. And I don't even think that's what's going to happen, honestly. I think he's a lock for the third line. The only thing is, I want to try him at left wing because I really, really think Lekkerimäki deserves a spot on this team. And I don't think it'd be very useful to have Lekkerimäki playing on the fourth line because he's a goal scorer. He's an offensive player. He does not need to be playing very limited minutes on that fourth line. He should be put into a position where he can score. I don't think he's ready to be on the second line, although that is the future of this team, in my opinion. I do think he'll be playing eventually alongside Coots on that second line. But to start this season, I'd put him on that line with Coots and Sherwood. Not only has Coots shown that he has chemistry with Sherwood, he's also shown that he has chemistry with Lekramaki. I don't know. I just think that would be such a fun line to watch. It would be my favorite line, honestly, right away. So, yeah, that's probably the most controversial one I've got here. Then the fourth line, I got Drew O'Connor on the left wing, Teddy Blueger down the middle, and Linus Karlsson on the right side. Linus Karlsson, he hasn't necessarily stood out in preseason, but I don't think he really needed to. He was so clutch during Abbotsford's playoff run last year. I think you need to give him at least the first 20 games. I know that might be asking a lot, but don't slot him in and out of the lineup. Just make him an NHL regular for 20 games, see what he can do. He can kill penalties, he can score, he's a great forechecker, he's great defensively. I think you got to give him a chance at the NHL level, a real chance. And then, yeah, Teddy Blueger at center is obvious. He's a great penalty killer, he's good defensively, he has some offensive upside, not a crazy amount, but he's reliable. I don't think anyone would argue that Teddy Blueger has a spot on this team. And then Drew O'Connor at left wing. Honestly, coming into the preseason, I wasn't too high on him. I like his speed, I like his size. I don't think he did enough for me last year to make him a lock in the lineup for opening night. But man, has he been good in the preseason. He looks fast and strong and just shot out of a cannon, honestly. So I kind of changed my mind. I feel like O'Connor really deserves that spot. Also, now that Nils Höglander is injured, he's going to get that spot. It's not even a question. I don't even know if it would have been a question if Höglander hadn't been injured. But I like him. I think that fourth line is going to be really annoying to play against. If Karlsson is doing what he does best and O'Connor is forechecking hard and zooming around the ice the way he does and Blueger's winning faceoffs and making great defensive plays, that fourth line could actually be really good. As for extra forwards, obviously, Aatu Räty would be a healthy scratch for me on opening night. And then I guess I'd probably call up Max Sasson because he's been so good in the preseason as well. But yeah, okay, that's my lineup. Let's read these comments and see what you guys thought. At Cinema Samuel said, I think Mancini has earned his spot. I know you can't scratch Forbort because of his veteran status, but Mancini will be a stud in the top four. Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is just opening night, but if we fast forward a couple months into the season, unless a trade is made, I don't see how Mancini isn't in that right side spot and DPD is pushed over to the left side. Maybe that'll come closer to the trade deadline once they make a decision on Derek Forbort, but yeah, I don't know. I totally agree with you. I think Mancini's spot on the team is so close. It would be there if it weren't for DPD. In fact, he may very well make the team over DPD. I really don't know. At PDSSC said, I think a first line of DeBrusk, PD, and Sherwood would boom. Yeah, I agree with you. It would boom. I just don't know what that would do for the rest of the lineup. Let me think about that. You'd put Besser on the second line, which I don't love, but I mean, it's not the worst thing. And then I guess you put Garland on the third line. Yeah, I mean, it could work. It could work. At Griffin A WT5JW said, nah, that Coots, Kane, and Lekramaki line was crazy. Coots, Kane, Lekramaki. I'd be cool with that too as the third line. I feel like that would be great. At Nicholas Wong 6737 asked, do you think Max Sasson has a shot at making it now? Yeah, well, Max Sasson has a lot that I like. I think, man, it gets difficult because when you look at the bottom nine, there's too many players that I want to see play on a regular basis. Max Sasson is one of those players. Linus Karlsson is one of those players. Aatu Räty, even Joseph Labatt has looked good. I wouldn't mind seeing him on that fourth line at some point. So, yeah, I don't know. It's tough because I want Max Sasson. And yes, do I think he can make the team? Absolutely. Like he might. But who does he take out? Linus Karlsson, maybe Jonathan Lekramaki, but I think you got to play Lekramaki. If he can get his shit together at the NHL level, he adds so much offensively. So I don't know. Max Sasson, he'd have to take either Lekramaki or Karlsson's spot, at least looking at my lineup, and I don't really want him to. Karlsson, maybe. At Silly Wabbit 22 said, I feel like that first line never works. PD really needs another playmaker with him, not two guys that specialize on tapping in net front pucks. Teams just send 2 to 3 guys at PD and there's nothing he can do. I'd rather see Kane there at the very least and have someone who can force the puck in to make space. Brock's just too slow to do that and DeBrusk is too passive. I very much like both players, just my thoughts as a line altogether. Yeah, I mean, those are some good arguments. Having a dynamic playmaker would definitely free up space for Petey, and I think that would be, this management's wet dream if they could find that. See, that's why I love the idea of Lekkerimäki one day playing with Pettersson. I don't know if that's the kind of playmaker you meant, but he is just so smart offensively, and his shot is nuts. Imagine being a defender having to choose between Pettersson's shot and Lekkerimäki's shot. And I'm talking like Lekkerimäki's shot in a couple years, right? Because he's still so young. That's the future of this team, I think. I don't know if I would have Kane over Besser. Kane over DeBrusk, I could get behind, but I don't know who's the next best playmaker on the team next to Pettersson. Probably Hedl or Garland. Obviously talking about forwards, because if I was talking about the whole team, I think Hughes is the best out of anybody. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good point. It's a good point. Not enough to sway my opinion, though. I still like my lineup. At Smuckles said, it's a shame we have so many depth players. I want to see them all play every game, but there are too many good young guns. Yeah, that's basically what I was just saying. I totally agree. I wish I could see Lekkerimäki, Coots, Sasson, Ratu, Carlson, even Baines. Who else? Ulriksson. I would love to see Vilmer Ulriksson in the lineup at some point. I'm sure we will, but not this year, or at least not on opening night. But yeah, I totally agree with you. Anyways, okay, I'm going to end this episode. I'm not too worried about making these super long anymore. And I will have guests coming up. I promise. It won't just be me babbling, me yapping. But yeah, okay, I'm going to end this episode. That's the lineup. That's what I think the Canucks should do. If I was in charge, what I would do for the opening night roster. I'll read them again, just so we're all clear. First line, DeBrusk, Pettersson, Besser. Second line, Kane, Hedl, Garland. Third line, Sherwood, Coots, Lekkerimäki. Fourth line, O'Connor, Bluger, Carlson. I would run through a wall for those forward lines. And Höglander isn't even in them yet because he's injured. So I don't even want to say what I would do when he's back. But yeah, okay. Bye.